Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bias Podcast. We're super stoked today. Have our first ever guest to the show. Everybody, please welcome future Heisman Trophy winner, freshman All-American, Fresno, California native Adrian Martinez.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Cool. Congrats on that award, by the way.
Thank you. It's definitely an honor and something I'm proud of and proud to share with my family and teammates.
Yeah, it's big time. We were talking a little bit off the air about kind of the process, how you found that out. You want to tell that story?
Yeah, well, initially I found out over Twitter. Just kind of scrolling, and all of a sudden I got tagged in a post, and I was from Husker football, and I was a freshman All-American, so that was pretty cool. And then obviously I talked to Coach Verdue, and kind of a more formal process after that.
Yeah, the ever infamous Coach Verdue. I'm trying to think. It must have been the first week of the school year this year, and everybody's fired up about preseason stuff. We were walking to, we were walking to somebody's house, just hang out, and we saw him running around campus. And the first question was, he's like, "Coach," and he stopped, took his headphone out, and we were like, "How'd Adrian look today?" He looked fucking great today. We all went nuts. Just, yeah, cool. All right, so Adrian, let's get into it. I got a lot of questions for you. A lot of people want to know a lot of things. So you graduated from Clovis West High School in Fresno. I guess the biggest question that I have for you right now is about kind of the difference in culture and football culture between being in Southern California?
Yeah, Central California, yeah.
Between being in California and being in Nebraska. And, was kind of the tradition and the history and the culture here kind of something that was attractive to you in recruiting?
Yeah, no question. I think if you look at schools on the West Coast, there's not as much appreciation for the game of football. I think people here in Nebraska, football is what it's about. The fans love it, the people love it. It means more, I think, here, more than a lot of other places around the country. And in that process, for me, I wanted to find a place where it meant more. And, I was going to be a part of a community, and I was going to play in a place where football was one of the top things people loved to do and participate in and watch. And so that was a big thing for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, you played basketball in high
I
school?
did, yeah, I did.
How was that compared to football? What did you like about basketball that you didn't like about football?
It's tough to say. I just love playing with the boys. I growing up playing, I played all different types of sports, and there's kind of a misconception I think about basketball. It's a pretty physical game, and you play all the time, and it could be tough. And I kind of liked that part of it. I think my game was more of a tough slasher. I could never really shoot that great, but I always enjoyed playing.
Yeah, you got an NBA team.
I am a LeBron fan,
yeah.
So he could go anywhere in the NBA, and I would be a fan of that team.
Yeah, I'm a Lakers fan, so we're on good terms right now.
There you go.
Cool. Well, yeah, so I poked around, did a little research, got a lot of stuff off of Wikipedia. My bibliography page will be in the video description. So without getting too deep into your kind of history and your process of recruiting, so kind of walk us through how you landed here. You started originally committed to Cal, Berkeley, and then, whatever happened, coaching staff, and then to Tennessee, and then to here. So I bet there's a whole lot of pissed off Volunteer fans that you're here now. But I remember that all going on. Kind of take us through whatever was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, it was a roller coaster, and honestly, there was so much that happened, and too much I could even put into into words here right now. But I'm incredibly thankful for that journey, and I really think God led me here to Nebraska at the perfect time. But initially at Cal, I wasn't necessarily familiar with the process, the way things were handled, and kind of, it's kind of a business.
The school is giant, by the way. Cal is huge.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place,
cool.
And a great school, and academics matter to me and were a big deal to me at that time, and I thought it was a place I could end up going, and the coaches ended up getting fired, and luckily for me, I was still early kind of in the recruiting process. My recruitment kind of blew up after that. Thankfully enough, I had opportunities to go to a lot of different places, and I chose Tennessee. Another beautiful place, a place where a good community, fans love football, kind of matched a lot of things that I wanted out of a college. And the coach got fired.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that was a big deal. You have to weigh those things, how much you love the school and how much you love the coaches you're playing for.
Absolutely.
And Nebraska obviously is very stable. Coach Frost has just been hired, and I love them from being recruited previously at UCF, and system fit, love the culture, love the place. I mean, it was all perfect.
It all makes sense. So you mentioned Frost, you mentioned Verduzco. I want to ask about, I remember probably around this time last year when everybody was kind of starting to get fired up, it came out that, so Duval is the strength coach, right?
Yes.
And somebody went to the hospital?
Yeah, someone did. We had started our workouts, I believe it'd be next week from last year. And they were really tough. And
what does he do?
A lot of guys struggled. It's called the circuit, or El Circuito, or metabolic, or whatever people want to call it. But it's not easy.
Yeah.
And we're a lot better prepared now around. There's no one that's going to the hospital this time, at least.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
We'll see.
But it's just a matter of being hydrated, being prepared, and people know what to expect. I think last year the guys were unsure, and it kind of shocked a few guys, and a few of those guys ended up in the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So we got some new recruits coming. How do you feel about Wandell and Ramir Johnson and all those guys? Are you looking forward to that, playing with them?
Yeah, no doubt. I hosted Ramir on his official visit, and obviously Wandale is here now, and I'm getting a feel for him, and I'm excited. We got a lot of good guys, some guys with some real good size, and I know this coaching staff and this strength staff is going to develop them really well, and it's going to, pay dividends here in the end.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. That Wandell's highlight film is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm stoked about that kid, too. That's a backfield and a half you have.
I think he's going to be a beast.
Yeah, that's sweet. So you got recruited a little bit when Frost was at UCF, right? Did you go? Did you take a visit?
I did not.
Okay.
Coach Verduzco, however, did end up coming out to Clovis West to come pay me a visit while he was still at UCF during the spring. And that's a visit I'll never forget. Kind of get a feel for just how energetic he is and how passionate about the game of football he is. And at the time, I wasn't crazy about UCF, the school. I liked the coaching staff. I liked the scheme and that, but I didn't feel UCF was the fit for me. And so, eventually I had to kind of part ways and tell him, I wasn't going to be interested anymore. And that was unfortunate, but it was just how things go down. And as soon as they got the job in Nebraska, I looked at my dad when I saw the little headline, Coach Frost hired as Nebraska's head coach, and it's like, hey, that could be a place.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
That's
and,
cool.
Things worked out.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. I got to ask you, you don't seem like a freshman. I feel like everybody, well, I guess technically, academically you're not, but, I feel like everybody, even in my grade as a junior, like third and fourth year kids, like you're almost at Nebraska, you're on like a sort of pedestal when you play for the football team. And when you're, a freshman All-American quarterback, it's even more so. Does it feel that way to you? Do you feel like you're kind of the man? I know you're a real humble guy, but there's got to be something that.
Not really. I go to classes like everyone else.
Yeah.
I struggle with classes like everyone else. I'm just like everyone else. I live in the dorms. I feel like if stuff like that doesn't humble you, nothing will. So.
Yeah. Living in the dorm food for sure humbles you.
Well, thankfully enough, I don't have to eat dorm
you guys
food. I eat at the training table, and they have pretty good food there, so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah,
but I've had dorm food, and that's that could be a struggle too.
Garbage. All right, so we reached out to some people and had some Q&As to ask if you're ready for some questions.
Oh yeah.
All right, these are the hard-hitting journalistic questions. Did we land on the moon?
I believe so, yes. I do believe in the moon landing.
Okay. So, but is the Earth flat?
The Earth is not flat,
No?
and I refuse to ever believe that it
No
is
hot
flat.
takes. All right, I like it. Okay, this is a hard-hitting one. Okay, you got a grizzly bear and a silverback gorilla. Which one's winning in a fight?
We asked this question the other day on the team, and I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's really a fact, like a factual answer to this question.
Well, the way I see it is like grizzly bears are really strong, but gorillas They have the movement. Like, they're going to be way faster than a grizzly bear. They can maneuver
They run on their knuckles, dog.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. I think a bear's gonna win this.
A bear's bigger. Sam,
I think a bear's bigger.
Can we get the tech guy to get some stats up here on the size of grizzly bear and gorilla? Yeah. No, that one's tough for sure. Okay. Leading me into my next question. What would win between 100 duck-sized horses, so little horses, and one horse-sized duck? You got one giant duck, 100 little horses.
I mean, I'm going with the giant-sized duck.
Okay.
That's just me. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know where
the little horses are going to rush the duck. The duck has to.
But how are they going to get up on the big horse?
Duck's just going to go to the water. Game over.
Oh, you didn't think about that. Hot take. Hot take. All right, last one. Do you play with create a player of yourself in NCAA 14?
See, the thing is, my buddy Brody, we downloaded the current roster. So technically I'm in the game.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So I don't. But when I play Madden, it just depends, we'll mess around. And
what's your rating? What'd they give you?
They gave me a 78.
Oh.
So hey, that was at the beginning of the season last year before I had ever played, and hopefully
we're looking for an 87
next year around, hopefully I get a better rating.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, it's been all over Twitter because Husker fans are nuts. And whatever the, ESPN released or Vegas did the betting odds on the national championship, and we're sitting at 25-1, which is like tied for eighth. Is that giving us a little too much credit, or is that something realistically, we belong there?
Well, that's not really my place necessarily to do that, the whole odds thing. And, as a team, I know for one thing that's not something we're really looking at.
Uh-huh.
But it's something cool, and I think for fans, of course, they love seeing that. It's going to get them fired up. And for us as a team, we have high expectations, and that's exciting to see. But we gotta back those expectations up.
For sure.
We have to go and perform, and we have to put in the work right now.
Yeah, I'm going to need a couple road games because I went to Michigan. That was awful. Went to Wisconsin, good game. So, but, all of us who are, diehard fans follow everything as closely as we do. You kind of notice, you start to notice when things switch. Is there a specific game or a specific something where you kind of can look at in retrospect and say, boom, that's where we started to turn the ship around?
Yeah, well, I think you could say Michigan was definitely rock bottom, and I think Coach Frost even said that afterwards. And Northwestern, I feel, was a game we should have won, but we found a way to lose, and I think that was a season changer for us. We had played a really good game, kind of struggled in the end, and lost because of the same reasons we had lost earlier in the year, and we knew we had to change. And I believe the next game was Minnesota, and we went out there and balled out, and I think we started gaining that confidence, and we started understanding what was expected and exactly how to do it, whether that be on the defensive side, offensive side. We started doing those things correctly. Unfortunately, it was a little too late in the year. A couple games, against good teams like Iowa and Ohio State, little mistakes. The margin for error is so small at the college football level. And we were starting to understand that. I was starting to understand that. But those lessons we learned from last season, I believe are really going to carry over, into this next year and things we can learn from and improve on.
Yeah, I think the most exciting thing for me was watching the Ohio State game. Even though we lost, you could just see how much we had progressed through the season, and just to stay in a hard-fought game with a good team like Ohio State. And every game after that, you could tell that we just kept building and building and getting better. So it's we're coming into next season with a lot of, I wouldn't say expectations, but just because I feel you guys have played so well through that end of the season that next season is just going to be that much better.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think there's a certain level of momentum we can carry from that, a certain level of confidence from that back half of the season that we're going to carry into next season and into this off season. But understanding that we didn't achieve the way we wanted to last year, and we have to do things differently from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, good thing you're only a sophomore.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's dope. Okay, I think we have special guest Sam Frankel, our technical producer in the building. Sam, you want to say hi?
What's up?
I meant to the people, but all right.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay. If you got any questions.
Yeah,
Here, hop on the mic.
Sam Franklin, everybody.
Adrian, how's it going, man?
It's going good.
All right, so, I was thinking we want to get to know you a little more personally, right? Big question I want to know, pre-game, what's on your playlist?
That's a tough one. That would kind of change just depending. If there was a new song, whatever else. I should look right now, actually. Probably find some of the things I have here.
Are you more like of a hype guy or like just good music?
Well, the thing that just depends on the mood.
Right.
If it's like really early on, like when I'm walking on the field, kind of getting the whole environment and things, it could be kind of more of a good music, good vibe type deal. But when I'm on the bus, we're about to do the walk with all the fans. I'm listening to pump up music, man.
Right.
I'm juiced up.
Yep.
Something has to match my energy. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't know how people will feel about some of these songs, but I'll just give one. Like a Philadelphia. The Meek Mill.
Yep.
Like that's just high energy. I'm that guy.
Well, at least I guess we're on music now. Did you like the new Kodak or 21 Savage albums?
I'm a big 21 Savage guy.
Yeah.
I am. I'm not gonna lie. I like 21 Savage. So I mess with that. A few Kodak songs. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about This is kind of a weird question, but what do you think about all the 6ix9ine stuff going on right now?
I've never been a big fan of him as an artist or like as a person. Just kind of the way he does what he does.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's more of a guy who believes any type of media attention is good attention,
Right.
whether he gets it a bad or a good way. It'll work its course one way or the other.
Yeah, well, and then, like, I feel like just with social media now, you see all this stuff blowing up with R. Kelly, and they just released that documentary on him. You see that? Like, it's getting really crazy really fast. And I saw some video on Twitter, like, someone tweeted a video of Drake at, like, a concert in, like, 2009 or something with, like, a girl who was underage on stage. I was like, oh, my God. Like, this stuff is just getting crazy now.
Yeah. Well,
You got to be careful for sure.
You got to be careful. And, at the end of the day, I think it comes down to, being a good person and staying true to your values and things of that nature.
Sam, you got another one?
Yeah, that actually brings up a pretty good point right there. Staying true to your values. You're a pretty big name on campus. You're young. So when you came here, how do you balance being a young guy and being smart all the time? You're good in front of the press. You don't not going to want to say anything stupid. That's really cool to see. How do you balance that?
Yeah, well, I think I've learned a lot just growing up from my parents. Thankful enough to have a great dad who really showed me the way, and I always paid attention. I wanted to make sure I learned from those before me and how they handled themselves and the way to do it the right way and the way to do it the wrong way. So when I got here, I was so caught up in school and football and learning and things like that, I really didn't have that much opportunity to make a lot of mistakes, I think, kind of in the social aspect of life. So just knowing how to handle myself and, what matters, what my goals are, and, making sure that I don't jeopardize myself because of any decisions I make off the field.
I do have to say, like, having a class with you, I was actually really surprised. I don't know what I was expecting, but, like, there was days where I wasn't in class, and I'm sure you were probably there. Like, every time I walked into class, I saw you. And, like, you're always paying attention. I was like, all right, this guy, like, actually cares. Like, he's not one of those guys. What is playing right now?
I just set off my tile.
Nice, Sam.
Yeah, just keep going.
Ruin the podcast.
Well, what I was saying is you're not, like the thing I think back to sometimes when guys don't care is who was that guy from Ohio State who said I'm not here to play school?
Yeah,
it was funny, right? But like it's cool to see guys care. Like, and I know you do, and I know a lot of guys on the team do too, which is really cool to see. Like, just whether it's basketball, football, volleyball, any sport, like seeing athletes care about school and showing up to class is really cool for like just a normal student.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and I think myself and a lot of other guys on the team, school is important, and I think we're here to get an education, and a lot of us are very lucky to get it for free, and so you have to take advantage of that.
Definitely. You got anything else, Sam?
Yeah, I got one more.
Yeah?
Before I get the mic back to Ryan, So this is a football question.
I love it. Let's hear it.
I'm 5'6", 135 pounds. You're about, what are you, 6'1", 210, 6'2", 210, something like that?
Yeah, around there, yeah.
Can you describe to me what it's like to get a big hit in football? I've never played football. What's it like to just get tackled on the field by some big defensive lineman?
Well, it doesn't feel good. I can tell you that much. It just depends, you know. There was a time when we were playing Michigan, and I threw a quick stick route, something like that, to Stan. And Rashawn Gary picked me up off my feet and put me into the ground. So sometimes it doesn't feel too great, and other times, you know, it doesn't feel like anything, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time you're caught up in that moment. You have the adrenaline rush, and you don't really feel a lot. Those really tough ones, though, you'll feel regardless. You know,
Yeah.
Those will stick with you, you know, until a couple days later.
Was there ever a moment when in a game this season where you're like, wow, I'm playing with the big boys?
You know, I think when I came back, you know, I obviously hadn't played football, like real competitive football. I played an All-American game, and I played spring ball, but, you know, that Colorado game was my first real live action. And, you know, once I was out there playing, you know, I felt like I knew I belonged, and there was never that feeling that I didn't, you know, that these guys were too big or too fast or anything of that nature. You know, I believed in the guys around me, and I felt like, you know, I was there and I was going to perform.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing a great job, man. I had to know it. There's some times when you're watching football and you see something, you're like, wow, that hurts me from the stands, you know?
Yeah, it could be like that.
All right, last football question for me. What game are you most excited about playing next year, do you think? Or do you not have one?
They're all important.
Well, yeah, they're all important, but, like, I feel like every athlete.
The first one I'm most excited about. Then second game, it'll be that one. And then, you know, the third game, it'll be the one after that.
Good answer.
You know, I think you have to approach each game with the same, if not more, attention to detail and excitement. You know, each game matters, and I think last season's a big example of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I personally can't wait to watch you put up 7 touchdowns on Colorado. So.
Yeah, same. I'm from Colorado, and we had that game won. I know we did, and then you went down. Whatever, we're not talking about it. But next year it's over. It's 70-0 in Colorado.
You know, they'll be a tough team. I know they got a new head coach, so I'm looking forward to that challenge, and I know a lot of the guys are excited too.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Adrian. I think that just about does it for us. There's one question that was submitted by Dustin Papa. Wanted to let you know he's a big fan. Here's the question. Not a football question. On a scale of Driggers to Scott Frost, how easy is it for you to pull chicks? Driggers, obviously being nearly impossible. Scott Frost being walking into the campus union and having to physically remove 35 sorority girls from his biceps.
Well, I'm definitely not at Scott Frost level, I can tell you that. You know, I don't really know.
It's a rhetorical question.
You know, it's not me. I don't know who can answer that question.
So Driggers level. No,
we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Driggers level.
My level's not that bad, all right?
Yeah. Is there anything about, you know, everybody and their family and their dog wants to know about Scott Frost? Is there anything about that guy that, you know, somebody like us wouldn't know that you think, like, well, what is he like off the field?
Yeah, well, you know, his reputation is true. He's one of the best men I know, and that goes outside of coaching football. He's a real genuine human being. He cares about his players, and that's something we all appreciate.
Sure.
He can walk into the game room and just be like one of the guys. You know, he can exist and have fun and things of that nature, and it's really cool to have that type of environment, you know. Yeah.
I walked in the gas station one time last year, and a lady was like, "You kind of look like Scott Frost." And I about put in my Twitter bio. I was so excited.
It's a pretty high compliment.
All right, before we sign off, another thing we're excited to announce about the podcast is we have our very first sponsorship. It is a Twitter account called Nebraska Wasp. It's at Husker Wasp on Twitter. They gave us a couple T-shirts. Wanted to give one to Adrian, so we'll dish that out. They are, the best way I can describe these guys is probably the most sarcastic, average Husker football insight on Twitter. It's not a very good endorsement, but check them out. They flame Iowa fans, flame Colorado fans, a bunch of good stuff. Adrian, thanks again, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Peace.